there's been this big debate on X today because libs of TikTok has been posting photos and information about all these people who have said, you shouldn't have missed, or
Right.
or next time aim better, that kind of thing, or like, too bad you missed. And in many cases, getting these people successfully fired, which I
Yeah.
don't really like, in part
No.
because I think that it's hypocritical, but also because I think it's quite unproductive. Like, I don't think that it's going to change people's minds or stop the rhetoric. Maybe somebody won't post that on Facebook, I guess, but
It'll just make people hate the right even more and make people dig in further in their partisanship. It's you're never going to convince people you're the good team if you're taking their job away for disagreeing with you. That's how I ended up radicalized against the left, was exactly that behavior. And what I've said for years watching this on the left is the people in power behave like the people in power, and we'll see a swing toward pretty awful behavior if the right takes power again.
yeah, I think
Partisanship
so
makes
too.
people terrible. But no,
Yeah, and
I'm
I mean, we can even see that right now. I mean, people who are ideologues, and
mhm.
they do treat everybody else as though they're enemies. I don't think that there is going to be a bunch of unity coming from die-hard religious conservatives. Like, obviously we see Matt Walsh
Right.
having a hissy fit on X because Amber Rose was allowed to talk for 5 minutes at the Republican National Convention, and she's not a true Republican. And has she converted? Is she like a good Christian now? It's not, I'm
Right.
not like invested in, I'm not particularly impressed by Amber Rose in any way, but I do think that, like, what she was talking about was just the fact that she was wrong, that she thought that Trump was the bad guy, that Trump was a racist. And she looked into it and she discovered that that wasn't true, and that she'd been lied to a bunch about Trump. And so she changed her mind, and now she's a Trump supporter. So to me, I think she's an
Yeah.
asset to their camp. And, I think that what's happening now is that people like me, but people are a lot more comfortable coming out and saying that they support Trump. Whereas
Right.
before, a lot of people would have felt scared to say that out loud, never mind scared to vote for Trump. So I think that that's a net good. And the fact that she was a stripper, or she's a slut in Matt Walsh's words, that she, like, I wrote a bunch of blog posts about her because she was doing these stupid slut walks back in
Yeah.
2015. I've been as critical as Amber Rose and her ilk as anyone, not
Yeah.
from a Republican religious perspective, from a feminist perspective. Um, and I think that it's good that she changed her mind, and it puts you in a vulnerable position to change your mind and to come out and say so, because you might be attacked in exactly the way that Matt Walsh attacked her. Never, and from the
Yeah.
left as well, of course, because they'll call her a traitor, or they'll
Yeah.
more likely say that she's been brainwashed. You've been brainwashed by the MAGA cult rather than brainwashed by their cult.
I thought it was a brilliant move. I think that watching what's happening to the Republican Party is part of that. My response to it is part of my newfound appreciation of what an incredible salesman and showman Trump is, and how
Right.
he does give the people what they want. And it was brilliant to put her up there. She's gorgeous. She was polished.
Yeah.
I mean, she just looked stunning. She was articulate. Her speech was very relatable and very, like, it evoked kind emotions, in a sense of like, you belong here. It was done really well. And she's a multiracial woman of color. She falls under that. I think it was brilliant. And I think that the Mount Walshes and their purity tests are I think that's foolish. I think
Yeah.
that, and Matt Walsh is he's just a jerk. He's so, I hope that watching what happened in the comments, I hope that's indicative of people realizing that, he's not the spokesman for, the counter resistance to the left right now. But I also, look at what happened when Harmeet gave the prayer. That was more distressing to me than Walsh's response to Amber Rose, where all of these right-wing men were saying she was invoking Satan, she was demonic. How dare they let a woman cover her head and say a non-Christian prayer? That was distressing to me, but also I think it showed a lot about the Republican Party, that this is not a Christian country. We have the First Amendment, which says the government shall not establish any religion. People are free to worship how they want here.
Yeah.
And I think for the Republicans and Trump to be branding themselves as the defenders of civil rights and the Bill of Rights and the Constitution, that was a brilliant move to have Harmeet deliver that prayer.
Yeah, she's amazing, and I thought that was great as well. And thank you for pointing out, because I hadn't seen that until I saw your comment in my mentions on X that she had given that speech. But yeah, she was the one, her firm defended me against Twitter when they banned me in 2019 for saying that men aren't women and for calling Jonathan Yaniv he. But yeah, I mean, I'm like, you're not helping Matt Walsh. Like, this is what you want is not what America wants. This is not, like, you're a fringe minority. Most Americans don't want to take away women's right to vote. Most Americans don't want to make all abortion illegal in all circumstances. Most Americans don't hate women and think that they should be in the kitchen because they're not fit for public life. He's a devout Catholic, right? Yeah.
Right. He's a devout Catholic.
I mean, I think that, Trudeau, for example, talks a good game about diversity in Canada, but America is an extremely diverse country, and I think that Americans are genuinely proud of that. They don't want mass immigration. That's often what Trudeau is talking about when he's talking about diversity. He's not, talking about genuine diversity. He's talking about representing various colors of the rainbow. But America is for everyone. It's for people of all races and religions. And what he said about Amber Rose, like, it's like, do you think he's okay? So he tweeted, the RNC gives a primetime speaking slot to a pro-abortion feminist and self-proclaimed slut with a face tattoo whose only claim to fame is having sex with rappers. Truly an embarrassment. Not a single voter will be mobilized with this person. Does he think that a single voter will be mobilized by him? Exactly. The only people mobilized by Matt Walsh are people who are already like Matt Walsh. So of course they're voting Republican. So and yes, I do think that Amber Rose will mobilize voters and inspire young people to change their minds or look into what's being said about Trump more deeply. Like, it has sex with rappers. It's like, you sound like such a nerd. Like, this is not the vibe, Matt Walsh.